Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought we would have a look at the TOG 2 now that it is available. This one has been kind of, well, hanging in, so this will be available after 6 stars when it comes to the Dreams Come True event. So if you want to get this done, make sure to do these marks of distinction so you can get access to it. The TOG 2 is a heavy tank coming in for Britain. It's going to be rank 3, battle rating 4.7, and as you can see is quite a large boy. You can compare it to the marksman here and just see how big it is compared to many other things. And also it has access to a pretty nice gun, and its secondary factors are actually super nice. So we'll go through its general stats and my overall opinion of it. The vehicle, being a rank 3 4.7, is great. It means that it's part of a lineup which is super nice. You know, the Trizniak, the standard Firefly, the Churchill Mark 7, I believe it is, the Istavak, the Typhoon. It fits in a really nice place, and at rank 3, being able to do dailies and specials is fantastic too. Some of its primary stats are pretty rough though. Like if you have a look at the armor, it has this flat plate on the front, which I feel every British tank has, by the way, where they just have this flat plate, which means that you can just go straight through it, and it's just so annoying. For example, if you, let's say, have, I don't know, Germany, let's say you're facing like a Hetzer or something, which doesn't have the best gun in the world, but let's just say using the standard AP, you can see here this flat plate is only 76 millimeters, so it's just going to nuke you every time that you get hit through it. So the actual armor on the vehicle is very rough. You can pen it anywhere here, which, you know, basically means that even though it's a heavy tank by name, it is only heavy, it is not heavily armored. The gun shield is quite nice at 104, but still the same issue, and then 81 on the sides is no good either, and then on the sides of the vehicle, you have 63.5, and then only 40 on the turret. So this vehicle really is not one which is going to be able to stop any shots. You'll be able to stop autocannons and AAs, but that's really about it. Or even on the booty, you only have 19.5 millimeters on this whole area, so from the top, you will be able to stop some vehicles when it comes to the general setup, but then you have the 19.5 on top of the turret too, so it'll be able to stop some guns from the air, which is nice, but it won't be able to stop bombs or rockets or really anything like that. So basically the armor's trash. I think we can all agree with that, right? Now, the other factors are pretty good. First of all, it has a ton of crew. So you got these two guys here, these machine gunners. If you get a modification on it, this one right here, which isn't fully finished yet, but will be when the game comes around, you actually get 2 sets of machine guns on both sides, and then you also get a 75 or a, I suppose, a lower caliber gun here, where this machine gunner is. It actually pops out. We'll see it in the test drive. So all of these people are actually doing stuff, which is kind of cool. So you have this 8 crew, 4 in the turret. You have these 2 loaders, commander gunner, the driver, and then all the rest are machine gunners. You also have this interesting horizontal drive, which is actually at the bottom of the vehicle, which would be odd if that's the case, but who knows. And then you have the engine, the 531 horsepower one, with the big old transmission. Now, what is nice about this transmission is you can go as fast forwards as you can backwards. The problem with this transmission and engine and weight combo is, even though that's the case, you're still not going very fast. So you're still at max going 14 kilometers around the place. But I honestly don't think that's really too bad because of, as we talked about, its secondary factors. So you have this 94mm, the 28-pounder gun as well. And the stats on it are actually really good. So first of all, the shot mark 1, which it has access to, you can see here, 204, 156, 71mm. The muzzle velocity is pretty good on the gun. Overall, this will just go through anything that you face at this BR, and even in the full up tier against stuff like Tigers or Panthers, you'll be able to penetrate them too, which is really nice. And now let's talk about what I meant by like the secondary stuff, right? The turret rotation speed and the targeting speed is insanely good on this. You can see the vertical speed isn't that great, but you're not really moving very fast, and also you're not going to be like dipping up and down down when it comes to turrets. It's going to be very stable because of the speed you're moving at, but the actual turret rotation speed is incredibly fast. Then you also have very good gun depression on the gun, and the big thing for me is when I look at this gun, I'm thinking, okay, 94mm in a cramped turret, it's probably going to have a pretty long reload, right? 7.8 seconds really isn't that bad for a gun like this. So once again, that will also be affected by crew skills, which is really good, and also the gunner optics are not bad either for a vehicle like this. So even though its armor is pretty naff, even though its you know, its general mobility isn't very good, the gun and also its stats around it are pretty nice for the vehicle, which is kind of the opposite of what we usually get for these types of vehicles, especially for Britain. Usually the armor's good and, you know, some of the other factors are good, but the gun is the letdown. So the TOG kind of breaks that trend, which is interesting. This is the standard camo, by the way. I think it looks really nice. And then also you have a few others, but I'm not sure if they're actually in the game yet. But you'll have a million of them to be able to research or to buy, and hopefully at some point they can actually work. But yeah, I think it's really cool that this vehicle is in, and I'll kind of show you what I mean by like this in the game, even though it's not fully modeled. It doesn't have access to artillery, doesn't have access to smoke shells, apart from on this modification, and also doesn't get access to any secondary factors, but that's just because it's a heavy tank, and heavy tanks don't get anything, which kind of sucks. So it would be nice if that wasn't the case, but c'est la vie. We live in a torrid time for heavy tanks. So the major gun, the actual turret rotation, like you can see here, it is actually pretty nice. Like it works fantastically well to be able to move around the gun, and then also the muzzle velocity is quite good too, and the reload is quite good. It's just nice to see. You also have a Bessa as a coaxial, so that's nice. And then also you can see that you have this kind of potato gun in the front. I'm pretty sure this is the same one that's on the Churchill Mark 1. So you don't have exactly great penning rounds on it, but what you should have access to is smoke shells. So what you can do with a vehicle like this is, since you are pretty slow moving forwards, like this is pretty much the maximum speed you're going to be able to go, right, on the vehicle. I mean, it gets to its max speed quickly, by the way, which is good, but it's going to take you ages to move around the place. What you can do with the 75 is you can throw smoke around the place and be able to kind of put stuff in the way while, you know, you reload and while you move to areas to be able to push in, and I think that's pretty cool. It also has these machine guns on the side, but they don't work right now. I'm sure they will in the future. But this thing really is just a land whale. Like, look at the size of it. It's absolutely nuts how big it is. So yeah, the vertical is not exactly great, but since you aren't really going to be moving at a great click, that to me doesn't really matter too much. And also the horizontal is just really nice to see. So this is the maximum speed you can go. The gun is basically stabilized at this point, and the actual rotation is really nice on it. So you can push it around in certain areas. You can pen everything that you can face. You can use the smoke to get to any position. I honestly think this actually will be quite a fun vehicle. It isn't just a meme vehicle like stuff like the Sturm Tiger, where you can kind of sit there and, you know, shoot the shot and then kind of wait for ages. By the way, just to show you the reverse, there you go. I honestly think if you play this correctly with access to, you know, the smoke shells on the little gun, and then also use it, you know, to constantly move and then just pen with the main gun, you could actually do some quite serious damage with this thing. But instead of relying on your armor, you are really going to have to rely on the smoke from the gun in the front. One thing I will say about this vehicle, though, it really doesn't turn very well, so it is very much a tank you just go forward with and nothing else. If you decide that you have to go in another area, it's going to be really tough for you. But the gun depression, as we talked about, is quite nice, so you can at least armor or angle the armor pretty effectively. But let's say you're at a standstill and you want to turn. It does have like dual drive that you can see, but even on a slight angle, it's going to take you ages to be able to turn. But at least you can turn the gun pretty effectively and annihilate the enemies from the side. So at least there's that. I'm looking forward to this one. Should be a bit of fun. I think a lot more fun than the Sturm Tiger, which came in previously. Hopefully they don't change any of these statistics. Hopefully they keep them the same. So it feels pretty fun when it first comes out. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.